Good evening and welcome to Trending Tonight. I'm Sanket Upadhyay. Two issues that we are going to talk about. Of course, it's related to COVID. Number one, political. The political impact of the quote-unquote mismanagement of the COVID situation. And this worry, is it there inside the RSS and the Bharatiya Janata Party? We've spoken over the weekend and today to a cross-section of leaders in the RSS and the BJP to tell you without a doubt that yes, there is a worry on the COVID mismanagement, a perception that has gone out among people that it was not handled well. And that is why you see that a perception management drive has been launched, which itself has been criticized. But nevertheless, the government as well as the RSS feel that it is important to do this. What if the constituents or the constituency feels neglected, which they are feeling right now? Who will answer? And could there possibly be an electoral impact to this? Remember, UP is going to polls in February 2022. What impact is this going to have, and what corrective measures is the RSS and the BJP taking? Remember, it's not just behind the scenes. Many leaders, many MPs have gone on record by writing letters, and we'll put those letters out in just a short moment. Is there a COVID management worry, mismanagement worry in the RSS and BJP, and what are they doing about it? Later on the show, we also speak to Nobel Peace Laureate Kailash Satyarthi on the children left behind in COVID-19 and the need for compassion. This is an extremely important subject. Remember, children who have been orphaned by this pandemic because their parents lost their lives. Where do they go? And now there are illegal adoption rackets that are going around, appealing to people that they must adopt children. That's illegal. Mr. Kailash Satyarthi is going to talk about all this and much more in just a short moment. But let's quickly tell you the BJP leaders who have now spoken against their own government. So the Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister said there is no shortage, absolutely no shortage in Uttar Pradesh. Only yesterday, Mr. Santosh Gangwar, who's a union minister, has written to the UP Chief Minister saying that there is scarcity of oxygen in Bareilly. He represents Bareilly. People in health department do not pick up phones. And he is not the only one. Meerut MP, Mr. Rajendra Agarwal, on the 28th of April, wrote to the UP Chief Minister saying that he is voicing concerns over inadequate arrangements for COVID patients, especially lack of oxygen, at a time when the Chief Minister was saying there's absolutely nothing wrong, there is no shortage. On the 26th of April, Mr. Sunil Bharala, he is part of the UP government. He wrote to the UP Chief Minister saying that there is massive shortage of medicine, oxygen and beds in Meerut. On the 22nd of April, the Member Parliament of the BJP from Mohanlalganj, Kaushal Kishore, in a video message said that there is constant oxygen supply in private hospitals. There is no constant supply in fact. Several patients are suffering, some even losing their lives. So now you figure out that there is something obviously wrong. And of course, these are comments which have been placed on record. Imagine the comments that have not been placed on record. The helplessness that members of the ruling party are highlighting. Well, one such person is an MLA in the UP government. He's an MLA of the BJP who had to send out a video message of his helplessness. Let's listen in.
आज भी उसकी कंडीशन क्या है क्या नहीं है ये तो माता रानी जाने। ना खाने के लिए कुछ मिल रहा है वहाँ, ना पानी पीने के लिए मिल रहा है। बहुत बुरी कंडीशन है उसकी वहाँ पर कि उन्होंने हमारे साथ जो किया वो किया। ईश्वर ना करे कभी किसी गरीब के साथ ऐसा हो। ये मैं इस वीडियो के माध्यम से आप सब लोगों तक पहुँचा रहा हूँ।
All right, let me now introduce our guest this evening, Mr. Sunil Bharala, who wrote that letter, is the senior leader of the BJP, chairman of the Labour Welfare Council, Government of Uttar Pradesh. Mr. Deshratan Nigam is a political analyst, views lean towards the RSS, and Mr. Ghansham Tiwari, spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party. Thank you very much. Mr. Bharala, I want to begin with you. आपके बाद और भी लोगों ने चिट्ठी लिखी है, चिट्ठी लिख कर अपनी ही सरकार से सवाल पूछ रहे हैं आप लोग कि ये शॉर्टेज है, इसकी इस कमी को पूरी की जाए। आप मानेंगे कि नहीं मानेंगे कि जिस तरीके से ये कोविड महामारी को हैंडल किया है उससे छवि को चोट पहुंची है?
संकेत जी, देखिए, चिट्ठी लिखने का जो तात्पर्य है वो अपने मुख्यमंत्री जी को हमें बताना जरूरी है कि मेरठ में क्या हो रहा है, और हमारे मुख्यमंत्री जी भी इस बात को अच्छा समझते हैं कि जहां पर अफसरों पर सारी चीजों पर निर्भर नहीं रह सकती सरकार, जनप्रतिनिधि और जो जनता के बीच के कार्यकर्ता हैं उनकी बात और उनके द्वारा जो आवाज आ रही
तो
है
आप
निकल
उनको
करके,
ऐसे ही बता देते, उसमें
उस चीज
चिट्ठी
से
लिखने की क्या
अवगत
जरूरत
कराया
है?
जाता है। तो वो पत्र लिखने का जो चिट्ठी लिख करके जो अवगत कराया
नहीं
गया
भराला
है
जी, मुझे आप ये
कि
बात
मेरठ
बताइए,
में-
आप
मेरठ में-
आप उत्तर प्रदेश में सरकार हैं, योगी आदित्यनाथ की भी सरकार है, आप उनको डायरेक्टली बता सकते थे। आप सरकार का हिस्सा होकर के सरकार के ही जो प्लेटफॉर्म हैं उनमें इस चीज की चर्चा कर सकते थे। चिट्ठी लिखने का मकसद क्या था?
नहीं, देखिए,
लिखी
पत्र
आपने
लिख
बहुत
करके-
सही की, क्योंकि आपने सच बोला।
संकेत जी, पत्र लिख करके अवगत कराना हमारे मुख्यमंत्री जी को वो कोई ऐसा विषय नहीं है, और उस पर उन्होंने कार्रवाई भी की है। देखिए, अगर नहीं होती तो मेरठ में इतनी बड़ी कार्रवाई नहीं होती कि जितना तेजी से वहां सब चीजों की सप्लाई हो रही है, बहुत अच्छे से वहां काम हो रहा है, तो उसका एक परिणाम आया है।
ठीक है,
तो यही कहने का तात्पर्य है कि पत्राचार करना, और हमारी पार्टी में ऐसा बड़ा लोकतंत्र अपने आप के अंदर है कि यहाँ कोई ऐसा नहीं है कि यहाँ जनता के बीच की और जनता की सेवा के लिए कार्यकर्ता है।
इससे थोड़ा विरोधाभास होता है ना। there is an element of doubt over here that on one part you've got a chief minister who's saying there is no shortage, and then there are MPs and members of the government who are saying that there is shortage. So I don't understand. There's obviously a disconnect. Mr. Deshratan Nigam, I want to come to you now. Do you feel, and I'm going to ask you this question because we know for a fact that the RSS is planning a positivity unlimited campaign, perhaps to fix or course correct issues of perception, that you need to spread positivity. There is too much negativity.
Sanket, let me point out immediately to you, because of large number of journalists, channels, and also political parties who are spreading negativity around. And there are huge number of positive stories which are going unreported, which are not even being highlighted. So the point comes as to why this negativity is being deliberately spread, despite the fact that system is holding on. No doubt it is overwhelmed, no doubt it is overloaded. And because of this sudden tsunami of the second wave, unpredictable, and the way the virus has behaved this time. However, this positivity is the need of the hour, and RSS has always done it, even in the past and today. Today, RSS hands are full in doing service for the nation. It is providing isolation beds, it is providing oxygen, it is trying to provide food to the people who are isolated at homes. So its hands are full and fully tied up.
But
and
you know,
therefore,
Mr. Nigam, can I tell you something? You say that one must be positive. Of course, as a general principle in life, that must be the case. But there are many leaders. My question is political in nature. That politically, many members of the BJP and also of its parent organization, the RSS, feel that this is creating a perception among people that things are not right. And I'm going to quote some leaders of the BJP, on the condition of anonymity, of course, who say the following: if you lose someone, the grief and anger remains for a long period of time, and it can be expressed in any form. Was this a message about elections? Number two, I'm not going to name these people. People are disappointed with the central leadership and they blame lack of action on their part for the current situation. Prime Minister Modi's campaign in West Bengal while COVID cases were spiraling in the country has sent a wrong message. Claims of no shortages irritating people. We should have admitted honestly that there is a problem. The principal scientific advisor K. Vijay Raghavan warns us about a third wave, but he never told us about a second wave. And the list goes on and on. These are comments of leaders within the BJP and the RSS. Mr. Ghanshyam Tiwari, I want to ask you this question. Do you feel...
Can I respond? Can I respond?
Okay.
Because you said everything about RSS and BJP, and you're asking about Ghanshyam Tiwari.
Please.
Let me give you few statistics. Although I am also pained because my friends have also gone in this. Some very close people have succumbed to COVID. And this is not the time to give statistics, but I'll begin with UP. UP has done the highest number of RT-PCR tests, 4.31 crores. in the entire country, followed by Maharashtra, which is poor second, 2.81 crores. And let me tell you, the death rate is even lower than Delhi, 15,000 some people.
Are you sure about these figures?
Yes, I have taken it from NDTV's website only.
Okay.
So I'm not relying on anything. I'm telling you about the death rates.
Okay.
And I've had a word with somebody in UP's authority about the RT-PCR tests and everything, all authentic. Now, let us be very clear, every death is unfortunate and it has to be mourned. And yes, what you're saying is about perception. The system is overwhelmed, and anybody who loses a close one or a friend will feel the grief or the sorrow for a very long time. However, people in governance do not have to lose their balance, have to maintain their equilibrium in order to run the country. And that is where the statistics come into play, and the real picture has to be put in.
Okay, and you feel that this quote-unquote real picture also needs to be presented in front of the people. Okay, sure. I got your point. Ghanshyam Tiwari.
Well, Sanket, district after district, town after town and village after village are reporting deaths that Uttar Pradesh government is not revealing. Bodies are being found floating in Yamuna and Ganga, and there is no response. There is no response from Uttar Pradesh government. Where do the bodies emerge from? You look at the data of the last 1 month. Every day in last 1 month, Uttar Pradesh has reported more cases than Delhi and less deaths than Delhi. Do you think people are fool? They don't understand. You have a propagandist as chief minister who said that everything is hunky-dory, there's oxygen bed, everything is available, and his own MLAs are crying on videos. They have turned Uttar Pradesh into Shamshan. That is what they promised. The problem is that helplines don't work. The deaths in villages are not getting reported. No district has a functional hospital. Forget Remdesivir, paracetamol is not available. There is no dashboard at a district level that any average citizen can look at, media can look at and see what is happening. The result is people are seeing their loved ones die helplessly, and then people are dying helplessly, not even telling the true story. The deaths are telling the true story of Uttar Pradesh, and it is tragic. And in these times, when you have a arrogant propagandist chief minister who does not rely on any advice. If I ask Deshratna Nigam or Mr. Bharala, name 4 members who are part of Uttar Pradesh COVID task force or expert committee, they will not know. You will not know, Sanket, because these people are not there. They are missing in action. The state needs to know on an everyday basis who is responsible for bringing down the death, who is responsible for increasing the vaccines, who is responsible for taking care of the families, who is responsible for taking care of livelihoods, responsible for taking care of...
No, I just feel that
who is responsible for the entire
for
system,
any political party, it is absolutely important to understand that obviously perception is everything in politics. And if perception is getting dented,
politics.
Then there is a problem.
There is no perception in death. This is death. Forget politics. This government put more than 1,000 teachers towards death bed just because they wanted to play politics in panchayat elections. They have zero empathy.
I've run out of time, but thank you very much, Mr. Tiwari, Mr. Bharala, as well as Mr. Nigam for joining us. We'll continue this discussion later also as we get more information. Let's move on now to our story number 2. We got an exclusive interview with Nobel Peace Laureate Kailash Satyarthi, and he speaks on a very important and crucial issue of the children left behind in COVID-19, orphaned by COVID-19. What happens to them and what are the challenges? Let's listen. I want to know from you, Kailash ji, what has your experience been over the past few days? What have you heard? Have you come across a large number of instances where children are being orphaned due to COVID?
Thank you, Sanket ji, for bringing this very, very pertinent and important issue today on NDTV. Well, we have realized that quite a number of children are being affected directly or indirectly. The direct impact was that they were infected with the coronavirus, but also other impact was that some of them have lost their parents, both parents or one parent. And that has prompted us to raise this issue and try to help them out. So during last 10 days or so, we have been able to reach out to different agencies who are dealing with children, government and non-governmental agencies. And we have received complaints on our dedicated help desk number on dedicated call. So 353 calls were received, and out of them more than 90, to be precise, 93 children have lost their one or both parents. But there are many more children whose parents are in hospitals, they were suffering at home, or having corona pandemic. But these children need help, immediate help, psychological help, as well as the help of food or medicine or care and protection. So this is just with one helpline, which we have initiated from my foundation, from Bachpan Bachao Andolan. But there must be many, many children. I am sure that quite a large number of children must be suffering due to this pandemic, directly or indirectly. And that is the reason we have been raising this issue that no child is left behind, no child is left out, no child should be left to the fate of their own fate. So that's why we decided that not only us, but the government and other agencies should prioritize this issue in this second wave, as well as be prepared for the third wave, because the number would be much more in the third wave.
Absolutely. एब्सोल्युटली। कैलाश जी, मैं इसी से जुड़ा हुआ सवाल आपसे ये पूछना चाहता था कि देखिए, ये कोई भी नहीं कह रहा है कि सरकारें इस मुद्दे को लेकर के संवेदनशील नहीं है या संवेदनहीन हो गई हैं, ऐसा नहीं है। लेकिन जाहिर से कुछ काम वो कर रहे होंगे, लेकिन अभी उनको और बढ़ावा और मजबूत करने की जरूरत है उन सारे कार्यों को। वो इसलिए क्योंकि हम जिस तरीके की चुनौती से जूझ रहे हैं, अभी सारा ध्यान इस बात पे केंद्रित हो गया है कि किस तरीके से अस्पतालों में लोगों की जान बचाएं, और जिस तरीके से लोगों की मृत्यु हो रही है, ऐसे में बच्चे अपने आप को कहां पाते हैं, उसको लेकर के क्या समन्वय बने सरकार और संस्थाओं में?
देखिए, एक तो परस्पर विश्वास बहुत जरूरी है और मिलकर काम करने के लिए ये बुनियादी शर्त है। और इसके लिए संवाद भी जरूरी है कि लोग आपस में बैठ के बात करें, और गैर सरकारी संगठन भी इस विषय के जानकार, जो बाल मनोवैज्ञानिक हैं, बाल चिकित्सा शास्त्री हैं, ये सारे जो देश के चुने हुए एक्सपर्ट्स हैं, इनके साथ बातचीत की जाए। और मैं लगातार ये सोच रहा हूँ, भारत के स्तर पर भी और अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर भी, और शुरू में ही आपसे संकेत जी ये कहना चाहता हूँ कि हम भारत सरकार से विनम्र निवेदन कर रहे हैं कि तीसरी लहर की जो त्रासदी की संभावनाएं व्यक्त की जा रही हैं, उनको ध्यान में रखते हुए एक राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर एक टास्क फोर्स बनाया जाए, जो माफ कीजिएगा राजनीतिक तौर पर भले ही उतना मजबूत ना हो, राजनीति अलग चलेगी, लेकिन एक्सपर्ट्स लोग, जो विशेषज्ञ लोग हैं देश के जाने माने, उनको साथ लाके अभी से तैयारी की जाए। चाहे वो बच्चों के मनोचिकित्सा की बात हो, चाहे उनके पुनर्वास की बात हो, और चाहे उनको वैक्सीन लगाने के लिए तैयारी करने की बात हो, ये सारी चीजों को लेकर अभी से एक राष्ट्रीय, एक नेशनल टास्क फोर्स का गठन करके उसको एम्पावर किया जाए, उसको चलाया जाए, और उसकी सलाह से काम किया जाए, जिसमें गैर सरकारी संगठन भी हों, सरकार के एक्सपर्ट्स भी हों, और वो फैसला ले सकें और आगे काम कर सकें।
I think this is a very important point that you are mentioning, Kailash ji. You are saying that there should be a national task force which should comprise of not just government officials, but also people who are prominently working in this field for children, for three large points that I have been able to gather from what you have said: to provide psychological support to children, to provide vaccination support, because only a vaccine can save us, and number three, to build the sort of hospital infrastructure so that God forbid, if there is a requirement, we are not left scampering like we are doing right now.
Absolutely. We have been campaigning, not only me, but a number of my fellow Nobel laureates and some of the world leaders, or former world leaders, joined hands together. 170 of us called for universal access to vaccine. Vaccine should be a people's good, a public good, and it should be free of cost, made available to everyone, including children. We know that we don't have vaccines for children now, but I think the preparation must begin now. India can take the lead. We were calling ourselves as the hub of pharmacy and so on. So at least 2 of our giant pharmaceutical groups can take the lead in doing research and ensuring that we can provide vaccines for children before the third wave comes. And the same demand we are going to raise to the rest of the world, that all the researchers should work, because children are going to be the most vulnerable if we are not able to prepare ourselves now.
Correct.
Children have been the worst victims of all pandemics, all wars, all kind of situations. Why they should suffer? Because we are not prepared to save them. We must be prepared to save them now.
That's right. Kailashji, what sort of expertise do you think that non-governmental functionaries can provide to the government, apart from suggestions? Because see, ultimately, I'm sure you will also agree, the bulk of the work or the pulling has to be done by government agencies. They have the requisite power to make the change. So what sort of expertise and assistance can these associations provide?
There are experts on the ground. There are people who have dedicated their lives and working with the children on the ground. And they should be consulted, they should be taken into account, and they should be engaged properly for the protection. For example, we have to have some place in every child care institution. Many of the child care institutions are run by non-governmental organizations. So there should be a dedicated place for children who have lost their parents, both or one parent.
मैं आपसे ये जानना चाहता हूँ, एक और कैलाश जी, एक चुनौती जो बन करके उभर करके सामने आ रही है, वो ये है कि भलमनसाहत से ही बहुत सारे लोग मदद करना चाहते हैं ऐसे बच्चों की जिनके माँ बाप दोनों गुजर गए, और उसकी कुछ इमोशनल अपील्स भी सोशल मीडिया पे चल रही हैं कि ये बच्चा अनाथ हो गया, इसको अडॉप्ट कर लो, लेकिन वो बहुत गलत तरीका है, ऐसे अडॉप्शन नहीं होता है इस देश में। आप क्या बताना चाहेंगे कि कुछ ऐसा एक्सपीरियंस जो आपको पता हो?
हमारे पास जो कॉल आए, मैंने कहा कि 353 कॉल आए पिछले 8-10 दिन में, और उनमें से कुछ कॉल बिल्कुल ऐसे ही थे। हमें संदेह है कि वो बच्चों की मदद के नाम पर एडॉप्शन करने के लिए, चाइल्ड प्रोस्टिट्यूशन के लिए, चाइल्ड स्लेवरी के लिए, ट्रैफिकिंग के लिए, उनको दुर्व्यापार करके कहीं बेचने के लिए तैयारी कर रहे थे। तो ये बहुत खतरनाक हालत है। इस तरह के जो ऑफर आते हैं उनसे सबको सावधान रहना चाहिए, क्योंकि आखिरकार सरकार की एजेंसीज भी हैं, और अगर हमारे पास कहीं से खबर आती है तो हम तुरंत सरकार की एजेंसीज के साथ बात करते हैं, क्योंकि कानून हमारे यहाँ है, जुवेनाइल जस्टिस का कानून है, कारा का कानून है। एडॉप्शन वगैरह की बात अपने आप करना तो गैर कानूनी है, अपराध है, उसको बिल्कुल किसी को हमें प्रोत्साहित नहीं करना चाहिए। जो लोग मदद करना चाहते हैं वो गैर सरकारी संगठनों की मदद करें, चाइल्ड केयर सेंटर्स जो हैं, बच्चों के आश्रय स्थल हैं, उनकी रखरखाव के केंद्र हैं, उनकी मदद करें, सरकार की एजेंसियों की मदद करें, पुलिस को बताएं, बजाय इसके कि वो खुद आगे बढ़ के चोरी से बच्चों को लेना चाहें। तो हमने इस मुद्दे को उठाया कि अभी से बच्चों को केंद्रित करते हुए हमारी राहत की नीतियां, पुनर्वास की नीतियां, बचाव की नीतियां बने। अगर हम बच्चों पर केंद्रित करके अपनी नीतियां नहीं बनाएंगे तो बहुत बड़ा नुकसान देश को होगा और दुनिया को होगा। वैक्सीन की बात जो मैंने कही, मैंने कहा कि हम सारी दुनिया में ये बात उठाना चाहते हैं कि वैक्सीन हो। अस्पतालों की बात आप देखिए कि दिल्ली में कुछ बच्चों की हमें खबर मिली कि उनको पेंडेमिक हो गया है। अब सभी के लिए दिल्ली में परेशानी हो रही थी, अभी भी हो रही है, ऑक्सीजन से लगा के, हम सब जानते हैं, मुझे रिपीट करने की जरूरत नहीं है। लेकिन अस्पताल, बच्चों के लिए जो डेडिकेटेड अस्पताल हैं, वो हर जगह पर अभी से हमको बनाना चाहिए। पूरे देश में ये कोशिश होनी चाहिए, जो मैंने नेशनल टास्क फोर्स की बात कही, उसका एक ये भी काम होना चाहिए कि वो देख रेख करे कि बच्चों के लिए डेडिकेटेड हॉस्पिटल्स हों जो कोविड के लिए हों, जो कोविड रिलीफ के लिए या कोविड की महामारी से बचाने के लिए वैक्सीनेशन अगर तब तक आ जाता है तो वैक्सीनेशन के लिए हों, और सुनिश्चित करें कि उन अस्पतालों में वो बच्चे आराम से जा सकें। अभी मुसीबत ये है कि अस्पताल में दूसरे डॉक्टर या दूसरे लोग उन बच्चों को छूते नहीं है, डरते हैं, क्योंकि ये हो सकता है कि कोविड से प्रभावित हो। तो ऐसे अस्पताल पूरे देश में हर जिले में कम से कम एक बनाया जाना चाहिए। तो इन सब चीजों की जरूरत है जो की जा सकती है
जी।
और बहुत मुश्किल नहीं है, अगर हम अभी से तैयारी करें तो थर्ड वेव के लिए हम तैयार कर सकते हैं।